Yo, yo, yo.
What's up, what's up?
What's up, what's up? We back.
Yeah. Yo.
Yeah. I got some housekeeping stuff, so once we get on, I'll
Okay.
do some of that while my phone finish doing whatever it's over here doing, trying to connect.
Well, we know it's still recording.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
it's fine. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Success in Black and White.
The podcast. We are back one more again. We are back one more again.
Coming to you live.
From the house. Another episode. We're going to jump right in because
This episode is important.
yeah, we have a lot that we really want to share. And we definitely want to make sure that we respect your time and appreciate you for listening in. We thank you for all of your support over our last episode, number 79, the aftermath, racism in America. We had a lot of people show up and a lot of people listen and a lot of people reach out to us and just kind of exchanged conversation, exchanged feelings, emotions, exchanged support. And we appreciate that, and we want to make sure that it's known that we appreciate that. We're going to follow up with that with something kind of different, but something that we've done similar to this in the past. So we appreciate you. Just kind of get prepared, get your mind right, get your heart set, because we're going to be coming with some things that we really believe in and that we really feel like needs to be shared.
Yeah. Daryl reached out to friends, family, colleagues, and he wanted to do a project. And the project was, we have a podcast platform, and we want to share and amplify the voices of our Black family, friends, colleagues, all of that, using this platform.
Yep.
And so you reached out to
A lot of people. Yeah.
I reached out to a couple, but it really was your project.
Yeah.
And you started reaching out yesterday.
Yeah. We got a lot of feedback.
Yeah, in the past 24 hours. So basically what we did was, I've got to give some methodology details, right?
Yeah. Well, it's still flowing in, so I don't know. I guess you can do what you need to do. I was going to say that number, that total. Like, I don't want to say it because they're still coming in, probably as we're even recording this right now.
I think that there are a lot of people that are still filling out the survey. So basically we did...
Go ahead and, do your thing. I'm going to be quiet and let you do your thing.
We did it.
Even though yes.
we put together, it's only my thing because it's survey data. We put together a 5-question survey so that we could allow people to openly share, if they wanted to, the experiences or feelings, or just a continuation of the aftermath of what's been happening in our country. And so there were 5 questions that were open-ended, a couple demographic questions, which a couple of them we even threw out because they didn't matter. We sent it to people and told them that it was anonymous, but if they wanted us to reach back out to them, they had that option. And so within the past 24 hours, because we started reaching out to people yesterday afternoon, I think, we had 52 answers.
Yeah.
Which is
that
amazing.
We're using right now for this.
Yeah.
And the reason why I said something about her giving that number is because, as they keep coming in, we're going to keep sharing. And I understand she had to do this analysis and stuff. I probably should have looked at this before we got on here. But as they keep coming in, and as many as we have and as many as we keep getting, we're going to keep sharing them out. So I want us to get immersed in the stories, and I understand that this part is important and it matters just for context, but my focus is really on the stories and the voices of these people that have responded, and the people that are going to continue to respond. And my objective is to share out everybody's voice that we receive. So as of today, like right now, we're using the 52 number from what we have and what we've compiled. But as they keep coming in, like, we're just going to keep sharing them and keep being the voice for the people. So
yeah. No, yeah, that's good. I think it's good prep too, and that this is all just to give a little bit of context. Just some things we felt like didn't even need context, but just a little context behind the background of people who answered the survey, even though we are being very careful to protect their names and identities. But we did want you to have some context behind who answered the survey. And so this is, there were 77% of respondents were male, 23% were female. We wanted to hear everybody's voices. And so just whoever, I know this is kind of snowballing down. And so I know that you've sent it to people who have then sent it to people. And so we're just seeing a lot of, like, right now, what is probably within our first degree of separation reach, because 81% indicated they're out of Southeast United States region. And then we had a whole bunch of different industries. It was actually kind of, I mean, I hate to say under the context, but it was kind of neat to see how diverse the industries that people work in were coming through. And so we had 27% that worked in healthcare, 16% in higher education, which is our direct contact, 8% in IT, 8% in K through 12. We had finance, government, military, entertainment, sports sectors, just a whole bunch of people who really do a whole bunch of really cool things that I was like, this is a really cool job. That sounds like a really neat job.
yeah.
But it was really cool. And I just want to highlight that because I really want to thank the people who did answer this, just from a survey development perspective, but also from the fact that it is very personal. And we really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I am learning a lot. And Daryl, I know, appreciates it because that is his contact list. So you guys showed up.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I've kind of been sharing that along the way. And I'm glad that, they shared their voices, and we don't want to prolong it. We want to jump right in because we have a lot of voices to share. Yeah. So let's jump right in.
Yeah.
You want to kind of, I don't know how you want to approach this.
Well, so we have, with the fact that we do have 52 answers right now, within the past 24 hours, that's a lot of voices. And I want to make sure that we are able to, I guess, can we talk about how we first wanted to approach it?
Yeah.
So I first thought about, because I'm a data analyst and this is what I do, I first thought about, let's aggregate this data.
Yeah.
And so as I started looking through it, I realized that it's not data, and it's not something that you can aggregate. These are personal stories. These are voices. These are people's lives. And so we really felt that it would be the most important thing to just tell everybody's story.
Yep.
To just speak what they wrote, because they wrote that. And so I think I sat down for 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then I got up and I was like, I can't do this. And you're like, what? And I was like, I can't aggregate this. Like, this is not data to aggregate. These are very personal, very individual stories. And so I think our approach tonight is, I am here and I'm sitting with you, and this is our podcast, Success in Black and White. And, as your wife, I feel very privileged that I get to be by your side through this. I also hurt a lot through this, but I recognize, being white, how much privilege I do have. And so I think I just want to put the disclaimer out there that I'm going to read through some of these. I might have I want to contribute, a little bit as we talk through some of this stuff, but just full acknowledgement that I could never understand what people are going through right now. And I think that a lot of this for me is learning, and I'm so grateful that I get to do that. But I just want to put that out there, because almost as like a disclaimer of, I'm probably going to be reading your voice, and that's just to help out my husband so he can talk through what he needs to talk through and not get exhausted as he's reading and talking through everything.
Yep, I appreciate it. Yeah.
So that is the partnership, I think, tonight in how we're approaching this.
Yeah. So I don't have anything to add on to that. I think that you covered it.
Good.
I'm just ready to get these voices out here, man.
I agree.
Because I was reading through them, like, it, even for me, because I agree with a lot of it. I'm just like, dang, like all these people out here, and this is their voice. This is how they feel.
Yeah.
And when we put it out, I expected a couple of people to just hit me back and like, I got you, I'll do the survey. And then when we got it, like in like 24 hours, less than 24 hours, and I was like, dang, all these people came and responded and showed up. And then as I was reading through, I was like, dang, like all these people, like this is like an outlet for them. When we start reading, you'll kind of be able to see that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I will read, and then however you feel you need to input.
Okay.
As I say that, and then I cough. Okay, so the first question that we asked was, what is the hardest truth that you've faced in the past couple weeks with current national events and issues happening? And so I'm just going to start reading what people said. And so the first response was the continued hatred for men of color and the targets that stay on our backs.
Yep.
The second was the hardest truth or realization is that these injustices continue.
Yeah.
The hardest part in the aftermath has been determining how to raise my voice and protest. I find that my emotive side is ready to scream at the world while my internal deliberative voice is telling me to mind my manners or remember that you still need a job.
Yeah. I think we'll pause on that one really quick and just to kind of share my insight and my feelings and my emotions about that statement, because that one did jump out. I mean, they all are very powerful and meaningful. And some of them jumped out more so to me because I can totally relate to this one as I can to the majority of these. And we talked about it previously about, we're passionate about this, and I think that people misconstrue our passion in the way that we speak or what we're trying to say. And I feel like I have a right to be passionate about this because this is about my livelihood, So if it was just something that really didn't carry much weight or have much meaning to it, then maybe, I would say otherwise. But because this is surrounded by things that impact my livelihood, I'm very passionate about it. And knowing that how you speak and what you say and how you say it, or if you protest or what you post could be perceived, and then also knowing that you still have to take into consideration that your livelihood could be impacted. And this person even said, like, I still need my job. Like, my job is still watching. My employers are still watching. So if I post something, if I say something, if I'm too loud, if I'm too emotional, still having to show up at work, like this could still impact my livelihood. So on one hand, I'm fighting for rights that I believe I deserve as a human being. And then on the other hand, it's like, I got to watch how I fight for those rights that I deserve, because the other side of my livelihood of being able to provide for myself and my family is, or could be in jeopardized because of how I'm fighting for what I feel like I deserve for my life.
Yeah.
So I definitely can relate to that. And it's a tough position to be in. And I think that one of my God-given gifts is just my ability to connect with people. And I think that because I'm able to do that, I've put myself in a position to be able to at least share or at least be able to express myself and how I'm feeling. And people may or may not agree, but they can understand and relate just because of that gift that I have to be able to connect. And that's the whole reason why I wanted to do this with the podcast, because people are listening.
Yeah.
I don't know why me, but people are listening. And as long as they're listening, it's not just about me. It's about my brothers and my sisters. And I'm bringing them along with me, because not only do I deserve the opportunity for my voice to be heard, they deserve the opportunity as well, regardless of how people may feel at their jobs or in general. So,
Yeah. Agree. I think you said that perfectly. The next person said, the hardest truth that I faced in the past few weeks is that my kids are Black, just like Breonna and just like Ahmaud. My boyfriend is a Black man, just like George. I'm afraid for my kids' future. I'm afraid for my boyfriend every time he leaves the house, that it could be them because they are Black. Innocent Black people are being murdered, and there are people that don't even care.
whew, man, it's tough because, I mean, if you take it verbatim for how they sent this and replied to us, like the could was capitalized. And then I put myself in there. It could be me. And I have 2 kids. I got my wife, and to even think that it could be me and they could be here without me, I mean, it brings up all types of emotions. But the fact that that's a true statement, it could be, is what makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you kind of expressed it. I don't know how that makes you feel, but
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's all I've been thinking about over the past week. More than a week is just, and we've thought about this before. We've been through this before. We've been in plenty of situations where you're very safe. You don't act. If you feel that it's dangerous, you don't go somewhere. If you feel that it might be dangerous, but I do feel this. I feel this stress. It's scary.
yeah,
It's scary. I do remember there was a night that you went out with a friend, and it was recent. It was probably like in the last year or two. And you went out, and you guys like lost track of time, but I hadn't heard from you, and I couldn't get a hold of you. And the later it got, I was like, oh my gosh. Like my heart was, I couldn't sleep, and I was just really scared. And I realized, I recognized that people go through that often. And I just can't even think about if I feel that way. I can't imagine also feeling that way. Like, I know that I get the privilege of not also worrying about my own life in the same way.
yeah,
And so for the families who, have a Black mom and a Black dad, and then you have like double the worry. I can't imagine. We have to do better.
yeah. All right, you want me to jump in and read them, or you got it?
I'm good. The next one, they said, white people still don't listen to learn about the impact of race and systems of race and discrimination on communities of color. Another person said that no matter what in 2020, we are still treated as less than animals. That when I take off my military uniform, I am George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery.
That no matter what in 2020, we're still treated as less than animals. That when I take off my military uniform, I am George Floyd or Ahmaud Arbery.
It's awful.
Like,
First of all, this person serves our country.
I know.
And
yeah.
thank you to the person that sent this in. And you serve our country. And the fact that I think this is what has been bothering me about the retort on social media of like all lives matter to the Black Lives Matter movement. And there's so many issues with that. But this is one, is that you choose your career.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't get to choose the color of your skin.
Nope.
And any day, I think there was a young girl who really just gets it. And she posted, you know, my dad is a police officer and I respect him. He wears a uniform. He has a badge. At any time of the day, he can go take off his uniform and his badge and he will never be profiled. And nobody would ever know that he was an officer. And it's just not the same thing.
Right.
You know, I was like, this girl gets it. But, gosh, it just makes me sad.
Yeah. And the fact that some people try to, you know, push the rhetoric of like the military, you know, and how when you're protesting in certain ways and stuff, you're disrespecting the military. And we have a person here that is in the military.
Yeah.
That stated in 2020, they feel like we're still treated less than animals. And when they come out of their uniform, they are George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, all right, come on. We got a lot more voices.
Another one said the hard truth they realized was that this issue keeps falling on deaf ears once time passes or something else grabs our attention. We had that conversation earlier today. Like,
yeah, we did. And regardless, like I said, these voices will be heard, and that's what I can do. And I can totally agree. Like, I remember I was telling you, I had got a text message from someone, and I looked at it, and I just happened to hit the scroll on the screen, and literally got almost the exact same text message from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When something around this,
Yeah.
issue had occurred, and I was just
same thing happened.
Yeah, I was just like,
same thing that happened that always happened.
I was like, man, like it just keeps happening, and then people say, oh wow, and we do the hashtags and we do all the things, and then it's just like we just let up. But right now though is different though.
Yeah,
like it's different right now, and we're gonna keep pushing full throttle until change comes. So
yeah. Another person said a hard truth was the continuous treatment of Black people like we are less than human beings. Another person said we are still a long way from change. Even with the media coverage of the most tragic of deaths, you still have people who are still blind to the fact that systemic racism exists. Another person said that white people will always be, quote unquote, surprised by Black deaths at the hands of the police, even though it has been happening for years. Another person said how prevalent racism is and that we have a leader more interested in division and his own needs. Yes.
I heard that a lot. I had, as a matter of fact, like as these were coming in and people were sharing, like they were texting me and calling me. I mean, April will tell you, I've been on the phone
all day.
all
Past
day,
24 hours.
nonstop, all day. I mean, people just reaching out, and I had a very, very intense conversation with someone about that, and it's sad. We try to focus at the end of the conversation. At first, we just kind of let it all out. At the end of the conversation, we try to focus on, at our level and with our platforms, what we can do.
Yeah.
And try not to get so caught up in that, in itself, and it kind of holds us back or holds us down because we're expending emotions on that.
Yeah.
So we kind of got it out and we talked about it, and we were just like, man, it's true and it sucks. And, as of right now, at this moment in this time, we can't really do anything about that. What can we do? And we try to make, these moments and our energy count towards something that we can control. And then when it comes around in November, we'll see.
I was gonna say the one thing we can do is vote.
When it comes around in November, we'll see. And even not just for that in November, like all of our local elections,
local, state,
we doing it all.
Yeah, agree. Another person said the hard truth that emerged was that Black people are being mistreated and killed because of the color of their skin. Why? Another person said that people still are overlooking what's going on, both the oppressed and the oppressor. Which I thought was interesting.
I want to say something about that. When they said both the oppressed and the oppressor, and I'll speak for me. I mean, we have a lot of voices here, so I ain't got to put words in nobody's mouth. But for me, like as the oppressed, like you just get accustomed to certain things and you just get used to them and they just become second nature. And even though they're wrong and they suck and they affect you and impact you and drag you down and make you feel horrible and make you respond in certain ways, you just get accustomed to it and you just get used to it because it has happened for so long. And it's kind of like you just ride the wave and you have something happen. It's like, oh yeah, we're up, fight. And then you get, told what you're supposed to do, what you, are you allowed to do or what is expected of you to do. And then you just kind of come back down and, that's it. And you're just accustomed to being certain ways. And that's why, like, I understand when they say, like, we're still overlooked what's going on. Because that's true. And I can say that for myself. Even when you're talking about someone who said earlier about at work, it's just like I get frustrated and I vent and, I may voice my opinion or say something. Then it's kind of like, well, I know I got to come here every day. I know I need this job. I know I got to get paid. So I'm just going to deal with it. And that's being oppressed. Like, that's just kind of how it has been. But in the current state that we're in right now, like, people are just like, you know what? I'm just tired. Mm-hmm. I can't deal with this no more. And as I used in the last episode, like, just bubbling over and it's just spilling out. Yeah. So
another person said the hard truth they've had to face is still having to explain why there is a need for the Black Lives Matter movement. I feel like I do want to keep going, but there's just a lot to unpack behind that you still have to be explaining this and that there still has to be a movement even.
Yeah.
Another person said a hard truth was that innocent people are dying at the hands of cops. Another person said these people are dying senselessly. Another person said the hardest truth is that feeling that the perpetrators may not be convicted just based on past precedent. They haven't been convicted before, right. Typically.
That's one of those things that I was talking about. Like, you just kind of get accustomed to, you just get used to. And like, as optimistic as I feel like we should be that, these officers have been arrested, at the same time, we're just like, well, we know the history. Like, we're used to what the outcome is. They get off.
Right.
And that's one of those things where you said, like, we just start to overlook it. And it's like, everybody's like, yeah, they got arrested and we're fighting. And it's just kind of like, I don't even know who's going to pay attention. I mean, I'm sure they're going to pay attention, but like really keep tabs on the like trial and stuff when it goes down, because it's kind of like, oh, why? Like,
it's just
it's going to be a way for them to get off. Yep.
I keep thinking about Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about her. I'm just like, did they ever arrest the cops yet? I can't remember.
Yeah,
But I just keep thinking about it, and it's just crazy. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's keep the power in these voices, though.
Yes.
Let's hear what the people got to say.
Another
what people gotta
person
say.
said the hard truth was, we are so easily killed and our lives have no value. Another person said the hardest truth has been to see the hearts of Americans.
Can I jump in real quick? I think that this one right here really, when I read that statement, and I didn't write any notes on here, but it really stood out to me and it touched me because I've heard a lot of people even say to me, like, you know my heart. Or you hear a lot of people say, like, that's not in me. That's not me. That's not my heart. And I'm just like, I think I know your heart, or I thought I knew your heart. But also, a lot of people who have a lot of things in their heart is coming to the forefront. And you can see it being expressed now during these times, which is also eye-opening. People that you've been really close to for a long time, that you thought you knew, and how they're responding to this, these times. And then also the people that you thought you knew, that says, you know my heart, that are not showing up,
Yeah.
which is saying a lot about their heart. So
Yep.
that one was hard for me, because like I said, I've heard it, and there are a lot of people that I thought I knew, and a lot of people that I associate with on a regular basis that have shown me like a side of them that, I thought I knew otherwise, which, hurts just as much, because you think that like they're your comrade, and you can, trust them, and they're your ally, and you come to find out they have some things in their heart that just kind of exposed itself, that you're like, man, so that's how you really feel about this.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
I think I know that I had this in notes a little bit later on, but I think because you're bringing this up right now, I do want to ask you, because we've talked multiple times this past week about keeping an inventory.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious if you'll talk a little bit about what that means for you.
Yeah. And I've shared it with a couple of people, and I know for me and other Black people that I've talked to, like, we're literally doing an inventory, and we're going through the list of those people that are in our lives that have said, you know my heart, or that have said, I'm with you. And we're really evaluating actions right now. We're evaluating what people have done, what people are doing, more so than what they say or they have said. And we're taking an inventory and finding out who really is our allies, and who really has our best interest at heart, and who's really supporting us during this time and for the cause. And those are the people that we're rocking with. Those are the people that we're going with. And everybody else, we can't change hearts. Only God can change hearts. But what we can do is not waste energy and time and effort on those people who feel the way that they feel, that don't support what we're trying to do, the way that the movement's going, and changing the world from, what is existing right now. And those people who don't make it in the inventory, I mean, by all means, we're going to still, I'm going to still be this way. I can't speak for everybody, but I'm going to still be respectful. I'm going to still, show up the way that I need to. But, unnecessary energy, not even going to happen.
Yeah. Can I ask a question too? I do. I want to keep talking through the stories, but I want to ask, is this also, because you're talking about support, but is this also a safety measure too?
Yeah, it is a safety measure too. I mean, I feel like, so I had a couple of thoughts. Like I took a sigh and a deep breath when you asked that, because when you say safety measure, like, I have no safety measure. Like, what is safety?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, speaking for me, I always feel like at any given time, any given day, I can encounter something that, because of my race, could go south in the snap of a finger.
Yeah.
So when you say safety measure, it's kind of like, what safety measure are you referring to? Now, in the context of having people that you know that you can count on, yeah, that's what it's about. When I say taking inventory and when you say safety measure, yes, people that I can count on, knowing who those people are, or at least knowing how far, I need to go and who's going to be there to meet me, and knowing that they will support me the way that I need them to. So yes, in the mannerism of safety measures, that way, yes. But as far as safety measures, it's just kind of like, it ain't really no safety measure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that needed to be heard. Another person said a hard truth for them was that the treatment of Black people has not changed. The only thing that has changed is the method of killing and the access to a smartphone. We have gone from lynchings to shooting people while running, breaking into people's houses to shoot without regard for life, or slowly choking a man to death in broad daylight and on video.
Another conversation that I had today with someone, and we talked about this exact same thing. Like the technology piece, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like two-sided. It's like a curse in one sense, but also in the other sense, it's like a necessity. Because everybody's like, oh, technology, this, you're always on technology. Like, get back into the world and get back into like doing things without technology. And it's just like, on the other side, like technology can be like a tool used for potential justice. You know what I mean? For this last instance with George Floyd, if the people hadn't been there with the technology to film it, none of this, like, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. We wouldn't even be talking about this. We wouldn't even be sharing these voices.
Yeah.
So we had the same conversation about how, like, and then for some people, like, technology is a lifesaver. For instance, I had a conversation with a police officer that I know is one of the good ones, and I was sharing with him how he's on speed dial.
Yeah.
Like, if anything go down, like that's my lifesaver, and I know he will have my back.
Yeah.
And we exchange, conversation, and all the way to the point to where if it goes down and I'm getting ready to get pulled over, I said, I'm driving all the way to your front door and I'm calling you on the phone, and you better be outside to meet me when I pull up in the driveway.
Yeah.
So, and that's due to technology. What I mean? So it's kind of like, it could be a lifesaver. What some people deem as a curse, it's also a necessity as well. And it stinks that you have to think that way, that your cell phone is a necessity for you just in case anything goes down, just so that you can capture it, so that your word will be taken seriously and heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Another person said a hard truth for them was that this world hasn't changed at all. Another person said their hard truth was nothing. Things have just come to the light, or things have come to light even more due to technology.
Yeah.
It sounded like no truth. Like, this is always, I've always known this. It's always been this way. Everybody's saying it now.
Yeah.
Another person said nothing groundbreaking, stuff that I already knew in regards to racism in the United States. Black people don't get the same benefit of the doubt that white people do in regards to interactions with the cops.
True story. True story. We don't, I mean, if you think about it, and I know a lot of people have been posting about it, all the mass shooters and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How they go and capture them and bring them out, I think, and I don't have all the facts and stuff in front of me, but like, there was one, like, they brought out and he was hungry, and they went and took him and got him food, and they give him water, and they bring him out in one piece, and and then when it comes to a black person, it's like.
And George Floyd was accused of maybe forging a check.
Was it a check? I thought it was a $20 bill.
I
A
don't know.
counterfeit supposedly counterfeit $20 bill.
That could very well be.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You know what I mean? Like I said, some of the white people that have committed these mass murders and shooting up places and stuff, they managed to go in and bring them out,
Yeah.
you know, in handcuffs, and if the information is accurate and the facts uphold, like taking them to get food and giving them water, and you know, they arriving in one piece, no black eyes, none of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this comment just made me think about all the times that I feel like, man, I feel safe. I feel safer on a lot of like physical levels with you driving. But there are times I'm like, oh my gosh, if we're driving, you know, up to Atlanta or down to Orlando and we're not on major roads or anything, or interstates or highways, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to be driving not because like you're a much better driver than me, but if we get pulled over, I mean, do you remember the time that we were driving up to Atlanta and the cop came? I was like, "What is he doing?"
Followed us
like,
and ran.
he's
I'm
profiled.
like,
He profiled me, and he's running our plates because I was like, "What is he doing?" He would go up. He came back. He drove past us.
Yeah.
Slowed way down.
Beside us. Looked in the window.
Went around behind.
I looked him dead in his face.
Stayed with us while he ran the plates, and I was like, "What is happening? I've never seen this."
5 miles.
Yeah,
right behind us.
I'd never seen it before. You're like, "Oh, he's profiling us."
I'm like, yeah.
This happens, and I was like, "I've never seen this. Has never happened to me."
I had the cruise control on. I'm like, I ain't worried about it. Like, I got the cruise control set on the speed limit.
I literally had no idea what was happening.
Yeah, he ran the tag, and I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't speeding or anything, and obviously, I guess I didn't have any warrants or anything.
And he was like, "Oh, cool, okay."
And then he literally pulled back off in the median.
Yep.
Like
that's exactly what happened, and I was so scared. And I'm like, how do I get over there? Like I'm thinking in my head, how do I get over in the driver's seat? I don't know. It's crazy.
Nah, I'm like, I'm good. I was driving the speed limit. You know what I mean? Right. I had the cruise control on, and I saw him, and he pulled right up beside us and drove beside us.
He did.
And looked at me, and I looked at him. He just drove beside us, and then he dropped back, got behind us, and followed us for about 5 miles, and then pulled off in the median. I was like,
happened, what was it? This was like a few months ago.
Yeah, it was a few months ago going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
On the back roads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, okay. So the next person said their hard truth was the prolonged judgment of law enforcement when evidence is plainly seen, to your point earlier about technology and videos. Yeah. So even though we have them, doesn't matter. Another person said the hard truth is that white people are only speaking now because of the protesting, and the president does not help the situation.
Yeah, that was part of the conversations that I was having today about, 45 not helping the situation at all. And, there are, I don't know who said that, and I don't want to minimize their voice. As far as white people only speaking up, not because of protesting, but, there are some white people that have been speaking up. I think that in support of this comment, though, is that they're speaking a lot louder now.
Yeah.
They are being a lot more vocal, a lot louder, and their actions are very different right now.
Yeah. And there's more.
Yeah, they're bolder now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another person said the hard truth was the way that they were killed. I haven't watched any of the videos because I can't handle it. The hate used to justify the murders is sickening.
Yeah.
Another person said their hard truth was that regardless of all the things I've accomplished, the potential I have, or who I matter to, my life can be ended because my skin makes another grown man uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Another person said their hard truth was that even with the video, you still have people saying all lives matter. That's sad. Another person said that people are finally waking up and realizing the stain America tried to hide for so many years.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's true because, if you go back and kind of understand the history of how America was built.
Yeah.
You know, you want to talk about this? They use the word stain.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
There's we talked about this in the last episode. We linked to it, and I'm just going to mention it briefly because it's. I know that a lot of people do listen to us, and so I want to say this as a resource. But if you are white, I highly recommend listening to the Seen on Radio, Seeing White podcast so that you can unlearn what you were taught in K through 12 and relearn what actual history is. I think it's really important. So we'll link to that in the show notes. Another person said their hard truth was, even with video evidence, justice is still not being served. Therefore, police brutality is increasing in ruthlessness. Another person said their hard truth was that racism could end tomorrow, but America chooses to keep things constant.
Yep.
Another person said their hard truth was maybe that most of the white people that were either in the dark or didn't know finally got an epiphany, but it's way too late.
I agree with that. Like, we talked about that a little bit today as well in a conversation that I had, that it took someone, again, losing their life to even get the conversation brought up, like, again. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me. Like that's what it takes. It takes somebody dying, and now somebody dying, like, and it being recorded and broadcasted, like, to even be like, oh, well, I guess we'll talk about it now. Or I guess we need to talk about this. Or I guess a conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, hey, y'all, we have an issue, let's talk about it. They're like, nah, man, get out my face. But, like, somebody has to die, and it has to be recorded, and it has to be posted, and the world has to see it in order for people to feel comfortable, okay enough to be like, all right, now I can say something. And then for other people to be like, okay, y'all, let's take it serious. Now let's listen to what they have to say. Like, that's horrible.
Yeah. Another person said, to be honest, there were no hard truths that emerged. I am not and have not been blind to the fact that racism still exists. With this current administration, it's only more overt and open.
Yeah. Talked about that on the phone call today too. I mean, I've been on the phone all day, y'all. Y'all wouldn't believe it. Like, I ain't never been on the phone. I ain't never been on the phone this much talking to people. But, you know, it's good. I mean,
it's good.
You know, that I put it out there, and people have been reaching out, and I've been talking to so many people on the phone. I'm just like, dang. I'm like, I'm actually using these minutes now. Usually I got unlimited minutes, but usually it's like, you use 47 minutes for the month. I mean, I use, oh man, so many of those a night. But it's all good though. I'm glad that I had opportunity to connect and talk with people. But that's definitely something that we were talking about, how people now feel more comfortable, and they feel more, you know.
Yeah, I can express my bigotry because it's okay, because the president of the United States does. So
yeah,
it's fine.
They feeling brave.
Yeah. Another person said a hard truth was, well, they said this time change may truly come about.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those, like, something gonna happen. Some type of change is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope that it's enough, and it's big enough to make a major impact, that somebody doesn't have to lose their life again for us to bring up the conversation again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it.
Another person said their hard truth was, police don't care about serving and protecting. If you're black, you're guilty. Another person said, no hard truth has emerged. The issues have simply become more salient to the nation.
Yeah.
Another person, all they said was their hard truth was, it could be me.
It could be me. That could have been my statement. I'm sure that could have been a statement of a lot of people here. It could have been me.
Yeah.
It could be me.
Another person said their hard truth was that no matter what happens, there are people that just won't admit that there is a problem of how Black people are treated in America.
You know, I think, did I show you a post or you showed me a post about somebody posted something like, well, if you would just abide by or listen and do what the police, or no, if you just don't do illegal things. I think that was, if you just don't do illegal things, then you won't have nothing to worry about. And
yeah, I mean, I think that is most frustrating to me because one figure who said that is a very popular conservative political figure.
yeah.
Another person who said that is a colleague.
Yeah.
And I think that is the most frustrating thing, is to see that there is a lot of prejudice and racist ideas being perpetrated on social media by either figures that have a large following and or people that we know.
Yeah. That hurts because I shared in our last episode as well about how people who say that, and I'm like, dude, like, if I follow the law, like, I do what I'm supposed to do. I haven't been in any trouble. I don't have no record. I don't have no rap sheet. I got 2 degrees. I got a good job that I've been at for, 10 years. And the fact that you say if you don't do illegal stuff, I'm like, no, that ain't true. Because with all of that, I've had the cops called on me in my front yard. I've been pulled over. I've been made and asked to get out of the car. Like, I'm like, nah, you don't get it. Like, It ain't like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Another person said that their hard truth that they realized was the justice system has racist people in powerful positions that affect Black lives in unjust ways.
The systematic racism.
Yep.
Systematic oppression.
Mm-hmm. Another person's hard truth was that brutal recorded deaths have to occur before the fact that racism is still alive comes to light.
Exactly.
Another person's hard truth was that modern day lynching is here and done in the broad daylight. Innocent lives are taken at the hands of someone else in such a derogatory manner. How strong the hate really is, and the many unexplained incidents with police.
Mm-hmm.
Another person said their hard truth. Their hard truth was they sang and they played at Ahmaud Arbery's funeral. I've been friends with his mother for years. I'm angry and bothered by all of this. It hits home.
Yeah. Wow.
Another person said their hard truth was that it took this long for everyone else to realize how this country really works.
Mm.
The hardest truth is Blacks haven't been accepted as of yet in this society. The hardest truth is knowing I have a Black young 16-year-old child and he could possibly face this ugly brutality that has transpired over the years. Another person said their hard truth was how Black death must be broadcast for all to see in order for non-Black people to understand Black pain and grief and to believe that we do suffer injustices.
Mm.
I just made a note here because I was just listening to the Code Switch podcast when I was making dinner tonight, which is a great podcast, and we'll link to that as well. One of their episodes they were talking about is the outcome worth the voyeurism.
Wow.
And it just hit me like that's what it's become. It's if you, like you said, if you don't have the video, you don't have the proof, you don't have, I mean, it's a white police officer against a Black individual, and whose truth is going to pan out in a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, that is just the fact that it's splashed all over social media and over media. and broadcast out there is just, I'm sure painful. I can only imagine the pain, of having to watch that over and over and over again. Another person said their hard truth was, we're not really free in America. Another person said their hard truth was, it's 2020 and this is still an issue. I never imagined having to raise my Black son in such a cold world. Lack of respect for the Black race and having to actually ask for quote unquote civil rights, where economic equality, social and legal rights were quote unquote extended to us through the 13 and 14 amendments. How is this nation united when all I see is division? A country I signed the dotted line to fight for. So it's another one of our military.
Yep. Man.
I know. Another person's hard truth is that they will never see us as equals. Another person's hard truth is that this isn't a new reality for me. Or this isn't, I'm sorry, that was wrong. This is not a new reality to me. That's very different meaning. Sorry.
Yeah.
Another person's hard truth is America is supportive of police brutality against the Black community because it doesn't affect them directly. White supremacy is real. People will gaslight you so they don't have to look within and change.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with this.
And America is supportive of police brutality against the Black community because it doesn't affect them directly. And if it doesn't affect them directly and they don't push for change, then that's just as equal as them being insupportive of it.
I feel this way. There was so much silence this week.
Mm-hmm.
Among people that we thought were friends, we thought were family, and there was nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just doesn't affect him.
No.
It's just like, it doesn't really affect me, so I'm not going to reach out. I'm not going to say anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It just doesn't affect me.
It wasn't, here it is. Well, it wasn't Daryl, so I'm good. It's okay.
Yeah. Or I don't like to get political on social media.
I'm like, man, so what you saying? It has to be me for you to get riled up. It's too late by then.
It's too late.
Yeah, so.
It's too late.
Man, well.
Yeah. That was the first question.
Yeah. Good Lord. Hey, these voices, I mean, they trusted me. Yeah. People trusted me with their voices. And I appreciate that they entrusted me with their voices, and I will share them. Best to believe that. So, I guess.
Yeah.
Whew.
I know. How long was this one? We have an hour. Okay.
Yeah, about an hour. I think we'll cut it here.
I think we can cut here.
I'm pretty heavy right now.
Yeah.
And I've read through these 3 or 4 times already just to make sure that I was able and in a place to hear them again. Because when I read through them the first time, I was just like it hurts, it hits me, because these are all, my people, my brothers, my sisters, and I can feel their pain. And like I said, I've been on the phone all day, all night, just talking to people and just encouraging people and letting them know that I promise you, I appreciate you sharing your voice, and I promise you I'm gonna do everything I can to put it out there. So this is the first question we made it through, and I'm pretty sure that as soon as we get off here there are gonna be more.
Yeah.
And as long as they keep coming in, I'm gonna keep sharing the voices, but we'll stop right here right now because I just need a break.
Yeah,
I need a break. So we appreciate you tuning in. There will be more voices to be shared. I promise you. I think this is good for, I know all of my Black brothers and sisters to at least have an outlet. And then for all of my white people, my colleagues, my friends that I know your hearts, listen, hear these voices, hear how we feel, hear some of our frustrations, hear some of our hardest truths in this episode. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Until the next time,
We're out.
peace.
Bye.